Hello, I'm IBX Toycat, and one of the things that's always interested me the most in Minecraft, whether it be on the PC or the console, is the actual mining part. I know it's half the name, I know, but it's still something not everyone does just as much as me, because I really love mining. I love going underground, finding all the structures, finding the rare gold, or even diamonds sometimes, and even, you know, the wacky ores like lapis and redstone is always a fun time for me. And another thing that I really like about the underground is, unlike the rest of Minecraft, where, for instance, if you chop down a tree, you can just, you know, grow another tree in its place, and there's an infinite amount of wood in the world. If you shear a sheep, you can just shear them again in 5 minutes, and there's an infinite amount of wool and so many other blocks. But when it comes to ores in the game, there is a certain number of ores hidden below the ground, and once you've mined them all, they're gone. Once you've mined all the diamonds in your world, they're all gone. And this is especially true on a 360/PS3 sized world, because, you know, they're so much smaller, meaning once you've mined your very limited supply of diamonds, they're all going to be gone, and that's such a cool concept to me. So in this video, what I wanted to do is kind of just explain how many of each type of ore there is in both a 360, PS3, and an Xbox One or PS4 sized world. And I also wanted to explain, you know, like how rare they are in comparison to each other, because a lot of people don't know some fun facts. Like, for instance, lapis is just as rare as diamond when it comes to the ore itself, as well as a bunch of other stuff like that. So that's what I wanted to talk about in this video, and please do like it if you do like it, because it would help out a lot, and I wanted to make this video for a while, but getting all the calculations done did take a while. So, yeah, let's get straight into this, shall we? And the first thing I want to mention is we're going to start with a chunk-sized area rather than going with a full-sized world. A chunk is a 16 by 16 area. It's about this big. I've marked out with fences, and it contains roughly 16,000 blocks. This is what the game actually works in, and per, you know, game chunk, 16,000 block area, you're going to find on average 3.097 diamonds per chunk, or round that down to 3. Basically 3 diamonds for every chunk you're in, which means out of those 16,000 blocks, only 3 of those can be diamonds because of how rare it is to find diamonds, which is, you know, quite a few less than you probably imagine. And yeah, let's move on to gold, which is found slightly more commonly at 8 you know, gold per chunk, which is, again, a little bit more respectable, but still not that many. Iron is the place where it starts to get a bit more frequent, with 77 separate iron you know, blocks per chunk. And then with coal, we've got 142.6 coal per chunk, significantly more. Like, you actually are quite likely to run into coal. It makes up something like 1% of the blocks per chunk, so a pretty decent amount of coal per chunk. And then with lapis and with redstone, you're going to find on average 24.6 redstone, or you get 4 redstone per block, so 99 redstone per chunk. And then you know, you find around 3.4 lapis per chunk, meaning just you know, 3.4 lapis blocks, or if you're going to mine those blocks, around 2 lapis blocks per chunk, which is actually significantly less than you might figure. You might not figure you find the same amount of lapis in a chunk as you would diamond, but it's actually true. It's because, you know, you get so many more lapis per block, and because you're never looking for lapis. It doesn't make diamond armor, it doesn't make diamond swords, etc. And yeah, that's kind of cool there. Another thing that's quickly worth noticing while we're here is that for every, you know, 3 diamonds you find, which is enough for a pickaxe, you can actually make more than 3 sets of iron armor, as well as, you know, a couple iron pickaxes, which is, you know, kind of crazy when you think about that. So iron is significantly more common than you know, gold, which than coal, and then gold. I'm getting a little confused here. And of course, diamond is the most rare of all. But, you know, if we take these numbers, it's kind of cool to know. But what about if we make, you know, show some form of visualization? Because you might not be thinking that 142.6 is that much more than 3.097 diamonds. But if we make them in a little visual stack here, here's how many blocks of each, you know, ore you can actually find per chunk. So we've got 3 blocks of diamond, we've got 8 blocks of gold there. As you can see, the iron is stretching up there, and that's the coal all the way there, almost hitting the world sky limit. So next time you think, oh, it's only 60 times more rare, that's how much more you know, your odds of finding coal versus your odds of finding diamonds. Just, you know, bear that in mind. For every 142 blocks of coal you find, you should expect a vein of diamond or so. But yeah, that's enough of just showing off some cool vertical stacks, because that is just kind of mind-blowing to look at. Like, just look how high up that is. So yeah, with that said, how do we extrapolate that and work out how many blocks per world then? So basically, the number of chunks per world will vary depending on which size world you're using. On the 360 or PS3, the world size has 2,916 chunks, because it's 54 chunks by 54 chunks, meaning that the number of diamonds you'll find per world is actually 9,030 on average. Of course, if you have a fortune pickaxe like I do, you can mine more to get more per block. So, you know, for instance, we can get on average something like 2.5 diamonds per block. So we got 7 diamonds from those 3 blocks, which means that even though you might think that this is significantly rarer than gold, there's only 8 gold there. So that means we actually get 1 block of gold more than we get 1 block of diamonds. So, because there's no way to fortune up gold. So just, you know, a little fun fact there. But yeah, so 7, there's more diamond per world, but there's only 9,000 ore of diamond in the world, which which is significantly less than you might figure. You could go around with Silk Touch pickaxe and actually pick up all of the diamonds in your world without too much effort. Like, it'd take a while, but it wouldn't take as long as you might figure at first. You might figure it's like a, 2-3 year project. You could probably do it in a few months of solid mining. So, with that said, when it comes to gold in a world, let's quickly just type in the numbers, because we do have the little calculation here. The number of gold you'll find in a 360 PS3 size world is actually 23,911. So, significantly more right there. Of course, that's an average. You're going to find sometimes more, sometimes less. But still, 24,000 blocks of gold. That means, on average, that's enough for 3,000 golden apples, which isn't as much as you might figure. So, or I guess you could say, 200, 400 or so, enchanted golden apples. So, if you want, you can mine up all the gold in your world, make it enchanted golden apples, and that can be your gun too. However, after that, it gets a little bit more unrealistic to mine the blocks, because the number of iron you'll find in a 360 PS3 size world is 224,000, individual blocks of iron. So a lot of iron to have. That's almost like I think that's like 1,000 sets of armor, almost 10,000 sets of armor to be made there, but still quite a finite amount. We move on to coal, and the number of coal ore you'll find alone in a world is 415,000. So absolutely crazy right there. Just in case you want to know the redstone and the lapis, I'll put that on screen right now. But let's move on to our Xbox One or PS4 sized world. So, how many diamond ore can you find on a 360 PS4 sized world? So you can find 317,000 blocks of ores of diamond per world, which is significantly more. You can probably notice on a large size world this is. So you can realistically never find all the diamonds in a large Minecraft Xbox One world, which is nice, of course, but what about all these other blocks? If there's 300,000 diamonds, how many, gold ore is there, for instance? This is where things get a little crazier, because the number of gold ore there is just under a million at 839,000. So 839,000 gold ore, that's enough for 100,000 golden apples, more than 10,000 enchanted golden apples, lots and lots of gold, more than enough to make everything you could possibly want. But what about iron? How many beacons could you possibly make from this? So the number of iron in a Xbox One or PS4 sized world is 7.884 million individual blocks of iron. So this is entirely beyond the realm of possibility of one person. Even if you had them all in front of you, it would take literally like weeks of non-stop mining to mine them. But with all of the like blocks in between, you're never going to mine all the iron in a 360 Xbox One PS4 sized world. It's just not going to happen. There's just a ridiculous amount of iron, and there's even enough there for almost 1 million separate level 1 beacons. So yeah, lots and lots of iron. You could cover your surface almost with iron, and it probably wouldn't make too much of a difference. So finally, we have the coal. How many coal blocks could you take and mine in a world? And the answer to this one is 14,602,240. Again, we'll put the redstone and the lapis on screen just in case you're curious. But yeah, absolutely mind-blowing. From 9,000 blocks of diamond on the 360 to 14 million of blocks of coal on the Xbox One. There's a lot of different ores in the world, and although you might be listening to that and thinking I'm undermining my own premise there, on some level, though, you can still, once I mine these coal blocks here, they're gone. There's no way for these blocks to be found again. And there's a really cool concept that if you wanted to have a, some form of currency on your server, instead, what you should do is make a, give silk touches to people at the spawn, and then what they can do is they can run around and they can mine the blocks, and that means there's no duplicating, because you have to duplicate diamond blocks by turning them into diamond, actual blocks, but diamond ore doesn't turn into blocks, so people can't duplicate, they actually have to find the diamonds to trade with you. You can, use these numbers, so you can be like, okay, so each block of diamond is the equivalent of 2.5 gold, for instance, which is the equivalent of, what would that be, 10 iron, which is the equivalent of 2 coal blocks. You can do loads of cool stuff like this using these numbers, and hopefully this has helped out someone in some way, and if it has, that's pretty cool, of course. But before we go, I'm going to quickly just hop over to creative, and I'll try and help you visualize that 14 million figure, because it's a little difficult to think of 14 million pieces of coal. But, if you did go ahead and silk touch it, or even if you just mined it normally, we'll quickly just jump to creative here, so there we go. So even if you were to go ahead, mine all of those blocks normally with a silk touch pickaxe, or just with a pickaxe, whichever way you want to do it, but if you were to go ahead and do that, and then you went ahead and put them in chests like this, with stacks of 64 chests, coal filling the chest all the way to the top, then if you stack those 10 high, so double chest, 10 high, etc., you would need 200 of these 10 stacks of double chests entirely filled with coal to use up all of the, the actual, coal in your world, to have it all properly properly stored. So you need a chest room that has 200 of these separate things. So that'd be, literally like 400 blocks that way, just entirely filled with, coal, which is so ridiculous. It meant that if you were to have just single double chests, not, double stacking them like this, if you just had double chest, it will take up more than the length of the entire world, which is just so ridiculous. So yeah, basically, there's a lot of coal in the world. There's also quite a lot of diamonds, a surprising number. But yeah, hopefully this helped you in some way, like whether you start like an economy server, whether you just wanted to know the fun facts. And if it has, please do like it and let me know. Share it if you really liked it, and subscribe if you're new around here. I do a bunch of Minecraft console videos. Not all of them are just talking about wars. I also talk about other fun little top 5s, fun little tutorials, all the sort of stuff that you can play Minecraft console I'm sure you'll like. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.